Why, hello there. My name is Mountain, and today I'd like to talk to you about this. And what is this, you might ask? Well, this is the Carryology x GoRuck Kaidan Bullet Ruck 15 liter. As that mouthful of a name suggests, this is a special edition of GoRuck's second smallest backpack, the Bullet, done as part of a recent collaboration with Carryology, the online website for carry enthusiasts. It was released as part of the Kaidan Capsule, which was a travel-oriented solution that included 3 bags, this Bullet Ruck, this special edition Kaidan GR2, and then a special edition version of their larger field pouch here. This bag was intended for use as a packable day bag that goes inside of the GR2 when you're doing the one bag travel thing, and you can use this as an EDC pack at your destination. Now, before I get into the main claim to fame and all that, let me just show you very briefly around the bag. So you can see this is the front of the bag, a little bit of MOLLE webbing up front. You've got a really nice front/pocket, and it is actually nice, which is, you know, GoRuck is a little bit unusual. It has a top access pocket in here, quick access pocket at the top, one carry handle at the top, nothing on the sides, and then it opens up inside to show this bright Carryology orange, and then a couple of interior pockets, and then a back pocket, which I'm using for a laptop in here. Now, I'll get into all of those features here in a moment. I just wanted to make sure I showed people around the bag. Very simple back panel and shoulder straps with looping for sternum, shoulder straps, and with looping for sternum strap. It doesn't come with one. I've added this one after the fact. Now, its main claim to fame is, in my opinion, it's actually one of the most usable and full-featured small bags that I've used recently, with a really great capacity for the size and the weight. And if you know the GoRuck bags, like the large capacity or the large capacity for what it's rated generally shouldn't be too surprising, although for the weight is a new addition here. This is much lighter than I think some of the more traditional GoRuck fabrics are. And it's actually surprisingly packable despite its very usable size and functionality that you saw. It's definitely leagues above most other packable day packs, and is imminently usable both as an EDC bag if you pack it inside of your larger one bag travel and use it at the destination, or as I've been doing for multiple weeks now, even as a daily driver EDC bag even when you're not traveling. Now, conversely, its main weakness is, as you have probably seen, it's a bit floppier than you might be expecting, especially for a GoRuck bag. And that's due to the thinner X-Pack VX21 210D material. So this is made of a lighter X-Pack than they used for the larger GR2 part of the Kaidan. And that also shows a lot more wrinkles and wear than I'm used to seeing with X-Pack, with what I consider fairly like normal, typical EDC usage only. Additionally, like most GoRuck bags, even though this one is made of a higher tech fabric than most GoRuck bags, the construction is still the typical, very brutishly simple, not particularly refined, GoRuck construction. So it's not bad. It certainly is not going to break on you or anything like that, but it also just, you can feel so much of a difference in how simplistically this bag is constructed when you look at something like an Evergoods CPL 2428 or the CTB 35, which I'll be showing you very briefly here and I'll be reviewing very soon. Obviously, those are very different bag classes, but the technique and the materials and the refinement, you can definitely tell a difference. And finally, I thought it's kind of odd that it doesn't come with a sternum strap. I added this one after the fact. Given its $100 price premium over the baseline Bullet, which also doesn't come with a sternum strap. And then this is very much in the eye of the beholder. I felt like the patch that was included with this Kaidan series was a little bit of a letdown compared to the ones that they usually include with the Carryology collabs. It's just sort of like this very simple embossed leather patch. It kind of looks like something that you would do like in Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts when you're first learning leather work. So next, let me talk about the exterior design and the materials. So the first thing that you're going to notice on this bag are in fact the materials. It's X-Pack, and that's quite an unusual fabric for GoRuck, although these days they've been branching out a bit. There was a special edition Dyneema collab with Carryology a while back, and then they actually had a Dyneema version, not a collab, but a Dyneema version of their Bullet Ruck a few months ago, I think. But anyway, the X-Pack is certainly striking, and I like that it's this black on black on black with only the slightest hint of a pop of orange here for the hidden pocket. Obviously, there's orange inside, as you saw here. You'll also notice like the relatively smaller size and overall subdued exterior kind of appearance. So Often GoRuck bags have a very tactical look to them. That's sort of their vibe and their thing. I think this one is a lot more low-key. The material makes it look interesting if you get up close, but from a distance, it doesn't look, you know, it's not like super exotic like Dyneema or whatever. You have to kind of get up a little bit closer to notice this. It is a little bit noisy, but nowhere near as noisy as Dyneema or whatever. It's just a little bit crinkly because you got the X-Pack going on here. So for me personally, I think this is a great compromise between both a high-tech kind of aesthetic, the traditional GoRuck aesthetic, the small bag, but still preserving kind of like the, you know, it doesn't look too small if you're like a normal sized adult male, for example, I would say for most of us. I mean, if you're a giant person, maybe it will be too small. I think you can rock this bag in most situations without it being too much of a standout. It works great at EDC, in commuter, school, but also obviously travel, and also like casual workplaces, maybe even outdoors, I would say. So, speaking of materials, as I've kind of alluded to before, like this VX21 is lighter than most X-Packs usually used in bags, lighter than the one used in the GR2, and I like it. I like how much thinner and lighter it makes this bag. It gives it a light hand. It doesn't feel ponderous on your back, which lets them get away with a lighter frame sheet and much lighter suspension, which we'll talk about here in a moment here. And crucially, it's also much softer, which means this bag packs down really, really well. And I will show you that in a minute, how it packs into a couple of these different bags here. Now, of course, technically that means this bag is less durable. And you can already see there's a lot of like wrinkles going on here, a little flop, a little bit of scrunch, because like it keeps scrunching in the same places because you put stuff in here. And so for me, like this bag shows a lot more, not wear in terms of damage, but just wear in terms of like it's worn, it's been used, the wrinkles have started to set into the fabric than I would have expected for whatever the month and a half that I've been using this bag. I don't remember exactly. So that's not bad. It's something you should note though if you like your bags to look pristine even whilst you use them. There are certainly fabrics and bags out there that will hold up far more robustly with heavier usage than this one here. But I think personally that for most casual EDC use, it should be plenty fine. You're going to notice this longer, thinner profile. It's a little bit narrower, a little bit taller, almost rectangular, kind of like a bullet maybe, I suppose. I don't know, I don't have any bullets laying around, but if you remember like the Super Mario bullet bills, it kind of looks to me like a bullet bill from the side, you know, shooting there across the level. It holds a ton because of that without feeling like too overpowering, and it's not particularly deep either. Like it is not defying the laws of physics, but it's done very well in that though it's rated 15 liters, it holds a bunch. We'll talk about that. Doesn't look too wide, isn't too thick, isn't too tall. It's just sort of like an amazingly well-made bag. And again, partially because of the lighter materials they use, lets them get that better capacity to size ratio. The single clamshell opening plays a part in that as well. Now, it generally doesn't stand up on its own, I say, even as it stood up on its own this time, but I found in practice, especially if I don't have, right now I have like a water bottle inside of here and stuff, I did find that it tends to flop over a bit here. So I think depending on your loadout, it might stand up on its own. For me, I found that despite what it's doing right now, it usually would flop on over. And you could actually see that a little bit here, like on the, well, actually, this is pretty clean. Like you could actually see this actually like, I tend to have a lot of like white dust or something stuck on there, you know, like from dragging on the floor or for it flopping over. The good thing is, actually, as you can see, it actually wipes off really cleanly. I was surprised it just previously had a bunch of white dust on there when I had it on the floor, picked it up before this review here. Now, I did tell you that this bag's material, execution is kind of brutish, and I hope you can see what I mean just by looking at this bag. I'll call out a few things here. So for example, like the stitching is fine and robust, but it's like very simplistic. It's very like just, bam, here's a bunch of threads. And when we look at the shoulder straps, for example, and I guess I'll talk about this in the shoulder strap area too, you can see it's just like really sewn through, like the stitches are kind of puckering, there's a little bit of, hopefully you can see this on camera, there's a little bit of just like the threads are fuzzing a bit. It's not bad, you know, it's just really, really like straightforward. I think how they sew around this corner as well, maybe it's also the material kind of leads to this puckering. Not at all bad from a robustness standpoint. I've had a lot of GoRuck bags, I own a lot of GoRuck bags, never had any of them break on me, but it's just very noticeable. And we might take as a point of comparison, let's see. something like an Evergoods CPL24. This is also a special collab done in X-Pack with Carryology, the Phoenix. Just take a look at the way that the handles are sewn. You can see right away on the CPL24, just a lot more refined, much cleaner stitching, much cleaner handles, no puckering around how it's wrapped around, whereas this is just like a piece of nylon, like stitched down a bunch of times. To a certain extent, you know, I think, let me see if I can, you know, have it here. It's also partially just the thicker material. You can see there's a lot more puckering and just, again, it's probably the thinner material here, but also partially just the Evergoods is just a much higher level of refinement and execution. I won't say build quality per se, but refinement definitely. In just how, I mean, a great example is like if we look at the stitch lines on the Evergoods, you can see they're they're either interior stitches or just very finely and precisely stitched. If you look at this one, like, again, just quite visibly, brutishly sewn in there. Not a concern from a durability perspective, but it is definitely a different aesthetic when it comes to how refined it is, I suppose. And finally, on the outside, you're going to notice there's a single patch pocket here with a standard Velcro flag that is GoRucks kind of signature there. It comes with a special edition Kaidan patch. I'm not a big morale patch guy, but as you can see, as I mentioned, like this one's fairly straightforward. It's just a piece of leather with some embossing on it. Doesn't look that great in my opinion, but I do like that it's just basically all blacked out and pretty incognito. Since I'm not a big patch guy, I just left it on there. So actually maybe that's fine for my purposes, but I think people who collect morale patches might potentially be disappointed, very much in the eye of the beholder. So next, let's talk about the carry system on this bag. I already alluded to these shoulder straps. So here's what I like. So people who know GoRuck bags know that generally the shoulder straps take a long time to kind of get worn in. These are much thinner shoulder straps. And actually part maybe because of just how they're sewn, and I already talked about kind of how simplistically they're put together, but very effectively, I will add, right? Like these had zero break-in for me. Like they were comfortable from day one. Partially it's a lighter bag. You don't carry that much in it. The material is also lighter. It conforms to your body to a certain extent because it's a floppier frame sheet, which I'll talk about here in a second. But also I just liked how well that these bent because they had thinner padding and then kind of almost a segmentation from how they just almost sewed through the places to attach the strap on there. They attach here with both the material in the back and then also an extra nylon strap over the top. They didn't come with a sternum strap, as I mentioned, but GoRuck sells a separate sternum strap, or you can use any kind of like compatible, you know, sternum strap. There's a bunch of generic ones on here. This is actually a Fjallraven one, even though you can actually see the little Fjallraven fox on there, maybe there. It works perfectly with the GR2, or with the with the GoRuck bag. So if you don't have a GoRuck sternum strap or they're out of stock, you can use the Fjallraven ones. Those are always available. I like that they have this option here as well. Generally speaking, like these straps are comfortable. They certainly carry the load well, and because there was no break-in period, I was happy. There's nothing fancy about them. They are very simplistic in their execution. You can see no fancy strap keepers, no nothing, but like thick nylon strapping, it holds its place, it's fine, everything's good. The back panel has no like raised padding or cushioning or anything like that. There is a small, very small, thin foam sheet sewn in. There's no like plastic hard insert or anything like that. That's going to be part of the bag's floppy nature here. And what that often means is, because especially here I have my laptop, depending on how tall your laptop is, the bag will bend at that point. It's not bending like the Evergoods ones have, like a very purposely ergonomically shaped yoke, and they have this whole thing where like the bag will bend without your laptop bending. Your laptop isn't going to bend in here unless you have a really weird one. But you do get, it's a very soft and floppy bag, and it's soft and floppy in the handling. When you pick it up, it flops up like this. When you carry it around, it flops like that. When you wear it on your back, it flops like this a little bit. But I didn't find it to be entirely unpleasant. I think partially because of the generally like handleable nature of this bag's size. Now, It's winter here, so it's not like I had a chance to really take this on bare skin and hike up a mountain or something with it. So I don't know how it handles sweat, though I can surmise because of the lack of, padding and air channels and the fact that X-Pack is basically waterproof. It's going to be a sweaty experience, but on the other hand, because it does kind of like bow out a little bit, I found you do get a little bit of air passing through against your back between here, and the bag itself is not that heavy, so overall, I found this to be a fairly comfortable carry. Actually, I would say quite comfortable, depending on what you have in there. And the only thing I would maybe mention is, because this is a very soft foam frame sheet, if you have the bag fully packed out, you can actually feel it. It'll kind of bulge out a little bit. Let's see if I can show this on camera. Like, there's nothing to prevent it from bulging out if you have a bunch of stuff overstuffing the bag like this. It'll give you like this sort of like it'll bow out like this a bit in the center. For the most part though, I didn't find that to be an issue. Briefly, before I go on to the pockets, let me talk about the zippers. So, AquaGuard zippers everywhere on here. Very simple zipper pulls with paracord with some heat shrunk tubing on there as pulls. They operate very smoothly. Because of the bag's floppiness, I did find I usually needed 2 hands to operate them. You see, because it kind of gets caught like this because the bag's a little floppy. But they're very, very smooth if you're using 2 hands. There's no rain cover or zipper cover because these are waterproof zippers. And that actually makes this a lot easier to operate than something like the Carryology Dyneema collaboration GoRuck bags. I forgot what they were called. Those were released a little while ago. Those had these terrible, they were great because it's zipper covers, but you fought with them every time you went around the corner. This one's super easy to operate. It's actually, apropos of that, it's actually the same thing on the GR2 part of the Kaidan waterproof zipper, so no zipper flap. Very easy to operate those. There's also one hidden zipper, or well, not hidden, but quick access pocket in the back, and that has this little pop of Carryology orange. I love this, right? It's all black on black on black, and just this little pop of orange in the back there. Although this was intended as a hidden pocket, that obviously kind of makes it not so hidden, but I think that's not what it's intended for. So next, let's talk about exterior pockets, my friend. So if you know GoRuck bags, you know that generally this front slash pocket is almost unusable because it's really, really tight on the default GR1 bags of both sizes. I'm happy to report that that is not the case here. This one opens and closes quite smoothly, and I don't know if it's because the bag is kind of floppy, because of the thinner material, which is probably related to that, because of the smaller size or the shaping or whatever, because I've never actually owned the regular Bullet, so maybe the regular Bullet also has all of these benefits, and this is nothing unique to this bag, I don't know. But anyway, if all you've ever used is a GR1 or GR2, this pocket is super usable. And that's awesome. It doesn't have stretch. X-Pack doesn't really have stretch per se, not like, more organic fabrics, but I had no problems getting into this pocket and dumping stuff in and out, using it as a daily driver type of pocket. That made this bag super useful for me. Here's what I got in there. A couple of masks and my phone. The pocket goes all the way down to the bottom here. And I keep my phone in here because it has difficulty fitting in the top access pocket, which I'll talk about here in a moment. But I often will use this to throw receipts or parking, garage passes or pay tickets or whatever they're called, masks, stuff like that, a towel or whatever. Very, very usable even when the bag's filled up. I really like that this bag has this pocket in such a usable state, unlike the GR1, GR2 bags, and that really adds to the utility of the bag. The other exterior pocket is this top quick access pocket. As I mentioned, it has this orange pop at the top. I love quick stash pockets or top access pockets. And the thing is, so this was first introduced in the Carryology Dyneema collab. Again, the name eludes me. With GoRuck, they added those in, and that was great. And then I think there might have been a Huckberry collab one that also had a quick stash pocket. I don't quite remember. But the quick stash pocket tremendously adds to the utility and the usability of all of GoRuck's bags. So I think it's a little bit of a shame that they haven't actually backported that into their standard line GR1 series, for example. It would just greatly increase the usability of that. This one has the Carryology orange liner inside. I just have some alcohol and a chapstick inside of there. Now, as I previously mentioned, sorry, I didn't mention it. Let me talk about this. If we look at the inside of the bag, you can see how this pocket, this is the quick stash pocket, is constructed. It's sort of long and horizontally flush up against the top. It's not like vertical, it's horizontal here. And there's some amount of play in this fabric. What happens is the mouth opening is, it's actually about the same width as that. So maybe what happens is the whole thing is probably just a little bit narrower than might be desirable if you have a larger phone. So I picked the Xperia Pro IS for this particular video just to show, like, this is a longer, narrower phone. Sony phones in general are like that. And it's not that you can't fit it in there, but it requires a bit of like finessing around this corner. And if you have other stuff in there, and you've got the bag vertically oriented, as you might if you're trying to use a quick stash access pocket, it's a little bit of a fight to, you can see here, because the bag is hanging down. The bag's weight is hanging down. It makes it a little bit harder to push it around this corner. You can do it. It is doable. It's a very frictionful access for something that's supposed to be a quick access. Same thing if we take like an iPhone 12 Pro Max, also a larger phone, you're gonna have the same issue where you can definitely get it in, but it's a little bit of a struggle to get it in and to get it out. If you have a smaller, regular sized iPhone, for example, you're not gonna have any problems here, I don't think. So, that's it for the exterior pockets. There are no water bottle pockets or anything else like that. Let's talk about the interior pockets. So opening this bag up, I love that this bag flops way open. This is how a clamshell should be done. Just great. This is not unique to the Bullet or to this particular Carryology collaboration. I think that a strength of almost all of GoRucks bags, especially GR1s, Bullets, presumably, is that they flop open like this. Now, there's a little bit of padding here at the bottom. I forgot to mention that. And that's actually nice. It helps it, when it does decide to stand up, it helps it stand up. And again, it doesn't always stand up. It gives you this nice little bit of, like, there's no padding on these walls, right? These are just X-Pack, but because X-Pack has a little bit of structure and you have this one piece of foam padding, like, it keeps it like a nice bowl, like, you know what I mean? Like, this stays up, which then with the additional structure of the X-Pack, even though there's no padding, it keeps like a nice little bowl or compartment, which is super easy to load in. I liked this. This is very well done. Let's talk about the pockets here. Now, this is a standard inside flat pocket. You can see there's a little bit of like lip to the pocket. So when you close it, like, there's still a little bit of lip. Now, this top pocket and this bottom pocket arrangement, kind of roughly two-thirds and 1/3 split, is very common in many EDC bags, in the GoRuck GR1 series, etc. Generally in a lot of bags like this. So nothing innovative there, but it's a tried and true design and it works well. Now, this one's opaque, this one's mesh. This pocket, and actually honestly, this pocket don't technically have their own dimension, but in practice, I found that it was very easy to use them as if they had their own dimension, by which I mean, this top pocket, though it's technically flat and doesn't have its own dimension, you can already see it sort of bowing in or, you know, bulging in. There's nothing on the other side. And for the most part, unless you've got the bag super packed out, there's not going to be anything interfering with it on this side when the bag is closed. You have the quick stash pocket, but it's horizontal, so it doesn't generally interfere with this too much. What that means is, like, you can actually fit a fair amount of stuff inside of here. And inside of here, I have this aviator wallet, which I'll be reviewing soon, actually. I've got my keys. I've got some Master and Dynamic MW08s inside of a protective pouch, because the aviator wallet is made of metal and would otherwise scratch that. I'll talk about that in my review a bit. And then I've got a coin pouch there, and that's really it. I like that this one's opaque, so you can't see what's inside of there, not like my wallet and my coin pouch and headphones are secret, but I think it's important to have like an opaque pocket in there. You've got this standard patch here listing that it's a collaboration between GoRuck and Carryology, and it's the Bullet Ruck made in the USA. Awesome. I like the material that this one's made out of. I don't know what it is, but it's a high-tech material. And then inside, or high-tech, I don't know, it's a artificial material, I should say, it's not leather. And then on this side, we have this big mesh pouch. And this one, while it is married or mated on the other side to this front slash pocket, the mesh itself is kind of soft, so it actually gives you some play. Like it stretches a little bit. So in effect, this pocket has its own dimension, even though it technically doesn't. Very simple and easy to get into. There I have a Bellroy note taker with a James Brand Benton pen and a field note, a highlighter because I take so many notes I have to like remember which is the most important. Some hand cream because it's winter and hands get a little bit dry these days. I have a, what is it, James Brand and Drapeland Design Special Edition Elko. And then I have a little Rofmia card case here. I'm a big fan of Rofmia. I've got an exciting review of one of their bags that doesn't have a lot of reviews on the internet coming up pretty soon, so stay tuned for that. And then that's it. And I like that this pocket has this kind of big kind of gaping volume. Again, it's not independent, but essentially it is. And I often will find myself using it like an internal front slash or internal dump pocket. Is could be a little hard to see. Well, I'll leave it like that, and I'll just throw stuff into here. Let's see if we can show this here. I'll leave it open, and when I open the bag from the top, I'll throw things into here or into here, and I essentially have two compartments. And then when you flop it open, it still doesn't like fall out, right? You can throw things in there, like I showed before, and then when you flop it open, it still stays here because you can just flop this whole thing open here. All right, so main compartment, simple, big. I already mentioned how I liked how this sort of stands up when you've got it flopped open for easy loading. There's nothing really inside of organization-wise inside of here. I have my clean canteen water bottle in here. That's what you're gonna have to do because there's no water bottle pockets down here. I know a lot of people get nervous about having their laptop, which is also internal on here, no external laptop compartment in there. For me, I do it sometimes. I don't flop the bag sideways when I do, so that's kind of why I have this hero hook on here. I'll hang the bag vertically if I'm carrying a water bottle because I will keep it in there. I won't ever lay it sideways, even though technically they shouldn't leak, but you never know. Evergood's Civic Access Pouch 1 with all my little EDC good stuff in there. I got a review of this one coming up soon as well. Very interesting EDC pouch. I think that's how I feel about a lot of the recent Evergood releases, the CTB 35 and the CAP1. Very interesting, which is great. That's what I like about this, this hobby of ours. All right, in the back we have a single pouch, which is originally intended for ruck plates, I assume, in the 15 liter. I don't go rucking, in case you couldn't tell. I probably should. I will probably die. Inside of here, though, I use it for a laptop. It sort of has a little bit of dimension, but not really. It's very, very little. The fabric itself, though, as I kind of mentioned, I won't say it's cheap, but it does stretch a little bit, so that's actually beneficial here. No false bottom, but because you do have this padded bottom layer, it actually protects the laptop just fine. I have no concerns about leaving my laptop in there without a case. This is a 13-inch MacBook M1, MacBook Air M1, and then like a little iPad Mini Gen 6. These slide right in here. I think a question a lot of people are going to have is, will a 15 liter laptop, that's not going to fit in there. Will a 15-inch or 16-inch laptop fit in here? And the answer is, depends very much. I wouldn't count on it. I did try getting my 16-inch MacBook Air in there, or my 16-inch MacBook Pro in there. I don't have it here to show you right now. It's in the other room. It was extremely tight, and I didn't enjoy that at all. I could very much see, like with sample variants or something like that, or maybe like, you know, maybe this one's stretched out a bit because I've been using this for a while. Or if you have a slightly thicker laptop, like it wouldn't fit in there. So I think that very much, I wouldn't count on that. If you have a larger laptop, you're gonna have to put it in a case and drop it in here. Now, because it's a single compartment bag, anything you load in here goes on top of here, which means that if you're like trying to use this like to get through the airport as your bag, you know, on going through security or whatever, you're gonna have to like kind of fight to get your laptop in and out. Like laptop access can be a little bit tricky if you've got a bunch of stuff inside of the bag. Just something to know. But if you only have a few things here, like I had originally when I was showing you, like this is not gonna be any problem. It's really easy to just kind of have your laptop like this, or have your bag like this. Again, kind of floppy, so that gives you a little bit of extra play, and easy to pull your laptop out and in. And I just put my, my iPad Mini in the same pocket as this. You can easily put like a 12-inch iPad Pro or whatever, 11-inch iPad Pro in there, no problem. So I've been telling you a little bit about like how much capacity this bag has, and I haven't really shown you a super like, impressive loadout, but let me just show you for reference some of the things that you can get inside of this bag. Let's start with a jacket. This is like an Arc'teryx Atom LT, and I have here a pair of shoes, the Aereos FLs. Normally the shoes would be inside of like a shoe pouch, but these are relatively new, so I'll just pretend that the dirt doesn't exist. So you can see right away, like I would actually probably just throw it in like this, and it's no problem to get this inside of this bag here. And you can see it maintains its shape fairly well. And I know I said at the beginning that this doesn't stand up on its own. I swear it often does not, but it seems to be insistent upon disproving me this time around. But so I guess if you pack a pair of shoes at the bottom and a light jacket at the top, it will stand up. But like, I mean, so for example, a gym, a moderate little, pair of gym clothes and some shoes, as long as they're not too big, will easily fit in here, along with your laptop or whatever, though obviously you can see the problem you would have with trying to get the laptop out of there. If you're not carrying around random pairs of shoes, but maybe you're doing something a little bit more urban work theme, we've got a Keychron, what is this one? The K6 wireless Bluetooth mechanical keyboard, Roost laptop stand, and like a Kindle, Oasis, and a mouse, which I would imagine I would throw in here. That easily fits in there. Now, obviously you're gonna have stuff kind of flopping around in the main compartment. The padded bottom really helps when you've got like slightly more, so here. So this is what usually the bag does for me in there. And obviously you have space for if you wanted to like, throw in additionally the Evergood Civic Access Pouch 1 or something like that. Anyway, plenty of space as you can see. I've been telling you that this bag, despite being quite functional and quite, well made for a bag, is surprisingly packable. And now I'm going to show you what I mean by that. First and foremost, like what you'll do is you'll kind of leave the bag like this. I'll remove the hero clip here. And the bag just kind of squishes down like this. It doesn't like fold or roll up, but it definitely will just squish down like this. And if we take something like the GR2 here, also in the Kaidan series, what we'll do is we will just throw it in the front like this and zip it up. And as you can see, it fits quite nicely actually in the front compartment of the GR2 Kaidan. Sorry, let me move my table back down. I don't know why I moved up. You can see it fits really nicely in that front compartment of the GR2 Kaidan while still letting you have full access to the main compartment, which is quite capacious. So, tons of stuff you can put in there. Throw that in here, and then the GR2 in general has like this built-in extra pocket up here, so you can still access them or use this pocket a little bit whilst you're traveling. But beyond just the GR2 Kaidan, the bag that I've been using the most for one bag travel these days, that's right, my friends, this is the Evergood Civic Travel Bag 35. Got a review of this guy coming up very, very soon. Very interesting bag. This is the bag I've actually been using as my packed EDC bag when one bag traveling with this guy. Pardon all the dirt and stuff on the Evergoods. It's gotten a lot of love and use in the past few weeks. Because this bag is too big to use as an EDC bag, even though it looks like a giant CPL 2428, which is part of what makes it interesting. So I just fold this one down and I either put it on the top or on the bottom. And one of the good things about the Evergoods bags is everything's got its own volume on here, so it's super easy to get this folded up. And you can see it fits really nicely in there. And then the lighter weight and the kind of, just how well it packs down makes it a great full-functioned EDC bag at the destination that fits inside of even something that's only rated 35 liters as opposed to 40 or 45, which is generally the larger end of the spectrum for one bag travel bag. So you can see it gets really, really flat, super packable. I love that. It's a great, great packability, especially when you consider the amount of functionality that this bag brings. Like I said, I've been using this as my daily driver, even when I'm not traveling. So that should tell you something about my opinion of this bag. So that is kind of my thoughts on this bag. And if you're in the market for a bag like this, what are some other bags that you might want to consider? Well, first and foremost, you're probably going to want to consider the regular GoRuck Bullet 15 liter. I don't have that, but and also I think it's sold out on their website, but you can certainly get those on the secondary market for a lot less than you can this one, and you're going to get the same general shaping and functionality sans the lighter material, so it's not going to be nearly as packable, and you're not going to get this top stash pocket, which for me is actually a pretty big blow, because this adds a tremendous amount of utility, in my opinion. And the packability, if you're looking for a packable one bag travel bag, then the regular Bullet is probably not going to be a great choice. But if you're looking for a smaller, full-functioned EDC bag, then the regular Bullet might be worth your consideration. So let's say you're in the market for a packable, fold flat day bag that also is really, really full-functioned, can be used capably as a daily driver, everyday bag, even when you're not traveling, will still fit inside of a larger travel bag when you are traveling, and has an interesting fabric like the X-Pack, and is fairly light. My friends, allow me to show you the Rofmia Shift Day Pack V2. I have previously reviewed this bag on my channel. It's one of the first reviews I did. I will say I'd urge you to go check it out, but that sounds a little bit self-interested. If you'd like, I'll leave the link in the description below. This has, as you can immediately see, it packs down even smaller than this one. This one technically has a larger rated volume, 20 something, but in reality, I'd say they carry about the same because this one punches above its weight. You get this exotic Dyneema fabric, so even cooler, potentially, depending on how you think about fabrics, than X-Pack. Lots of organization, front slash pocket is also very usable with a little bit of cell phone organization. One or two, you can customize number of external water bottle pockets. This front, this main compartment opens up. You'll recognize this one, this two interior lid compartment organization. No back pocket for your laptop because the laptop has its own dedicated space here with an additional tech pocket stash on the inside of the laptop space. You get, similarly, a very floppy frame sheet, but great for the rated load. Nice, simple, no break-in required shoulder straps with sternum strap. This one's included. You get this amazing like build quality and just materials. This is handmade by a craftsman up in Gifu, Japan. I love this bag a lot. It's one of my favorite smaller day bags. It also works great for, you know, packable day pack for one day travel, one bag travel. It's more expensive than the GoRuck Kaidan Bullet at retail price, but in reality, because this one's only available on the secondary market right now, this one's available brand new for less than you'll be paying for this on eBay right now. So definitely check it out. A slightly smaller bags like this one, but just a really amazing bag. It's probably, I would consider these two very spiritual cousins, albeit with slightly different aesthetics and philosophical approaches. Now, if the thing that appeals to you about the GoRuck is the flat packable nature without being completely useless as a packable day pack, which is to say, hey, I want a secondary bag I can carry a laptop in. It doesn't feel like a still nylon sack, and it has a little bit of structure, but you know, shouldn't like take up all the space in my luggage. This is the Tortuga packable day pack. It's a very competent flat packing day pack. You can see here, like the straps are a little bit more like what you might expect out of like the packable bag world. Like they're not as thick as the GoRuck bullets, Kaidan bullets. You still got the sternum strap. This got a little bit of the foamy thing, you know, you got a little bit of air channel on the back, a little bit of mesh or whatever of questionable, like honestly a questionable utility. I've only used this bag a few times. The thinnest hint of foam, so this is an even floppier bag than this one. But on the inside, right, what I like about this one is like, you know, hey, you've got a couple of different, you know, organizer panels in the back here. You got one for your laptop, you got one for, you know, like a tablet or whatever. And then also in the front, you've got a front dump pocket here with a key chain holder, key loop holder, and you've got dual water bottle pockets, right? So overall, and this bag is much cheaper. This is like $125, something like that, which is actually kind of expensive for a packable day pack, but it's much cheaper than the Kaidan. Now, This is a more packable bag, but overall I wouldn't say it's nearly as nice as this one, especially like for long-term use. And I would certainly never use this one as a daily driver bag. This is very much like it's one of the least bad and kind of okay, I would say, packable day packs. But you know, this one is obviously much better, even though slightly heavier, etc. But a very good one to consider. And really, that is it. If you have any questions about this bag, go ahead and leave them in the comments below, and if I can, I will answer them. If you have any bags or other things that you would like me to review, go ahead and leave those in the comments below, and if I can, I will review them. Thank you very much.